Hey everyone, welcome to part two of figuring out how to graph rational functions. As a reminder, in part one, we figured out what a rational function is. It's a function that's a fraction with a variable in the denominator. The most basic one is 1 over x, which looks like this. Okay, we remembered how to find x and y intercepts of different rational functions. So here were two examples we went through. The last thing we need to learn about to be able to get a sketch of the graph is something called asymptotes. That's what this strange looking word here is. It's an asymptote. So first, what is an asymptote? And then there are two kinds of asymptotes. There are vertical ones and horizontal ones, and that's what we'll talk about in this video. So in order to discuss this, we're going to go back to Desmos and look at the graph of our parent function, which again is 1 over x. So it looked like this with the two different red branches here. So it kind of like goes along this branch and then it pauses and then it has a second branch up here. That's the general trend. The way that this breaks up into two different pieces is there are these invisible boundary lines. If you look between the function, there's, the x-axis is a distinct boundary between the two branches, and so is the y-axis. Now that's kind of hard to visualize, so let me graph these really quickly here. Here's the y-axis highlighted, here's the x-axis highlighted, and you can see how those two boundary lines really define the shape of this function. That is what an asymptote is. It's an invisible boundary line that helps you get the structure of the function. The function will always kind of tend towards these asymptote boundary lines. Okay, so let me write that into our notes and have you write it along with me. So what is an asymptote? So if you have a graph, that's interesting. If you have a graph like this and we have our parent function, okay, our parent function will approach these asymptotes and that can help us sketch the graph. So here's the parent function. Now the asymptotes could be something like this. So there's a vertical one and a horizontal one. So sketch this on your paper, but note that the dotted lines are what the asymptotes actually are. So I call this like an invisible boundary. An invisible boundary line that will help us graph the function because the graph will approach that boundary line. This isn't the formal definition, but this is the definition that I think will help us all. So invisible boundary line that helps us sketch graphs because, I'm going to abbreviate that, the curves will approach or tend towards these lines. I don't know. It's not necessarily the textbook definition, but I think that kind of summarizes what we need to know. So the ends of this 1 over x function will tend towards the boundary. So it's going to like approach this dotted line on this end, for example. Okay, or even up here, it's going to approach that asymptote. So it really helps us get a picture of that graph. Okay, and there are two kinds. You can either have a vertical one, which is up and down, or a horizontal one, which is left and right. Okay, I'm going to give you some examples by looking into different rational functions in factored form. Okay, so what exactly is a vertical asymptote? Let's start there. I'm going to take example 1 and put it into Desmos so we can observe what's happening here. So here's that function. This one actually has 1, 2, 3 different branches. I just want to point out that there's an x-intercept at -1, which makes sense because remember from the last video, the x-intercept is found when the numerator is equal to 0. So if you plug in -1 here, you'll get -1 plus 1, which is 0, which would give us an output or y value of 0. Anyways, that's not the point of this video, but a good review. So here are the different branches. We can kind of imagine where these asymptotes would be by just drawing dotted lines between each of them for those boundary lines. So there'd be like one right here and one over here to separate the 3 branches. Again, much easier if we can visualize this. So I'm going to draw those in real quick. Okay, those are our vertical asymptotes. There's a horizontal one too, but we're going to focus on vertical for this one. Okay, so you can see how each piece of this function will approach that line But the interesting thing is if you zoom in, it's never actually going to touch the boundary line. It's never going to cross it. And I can keep scrolling and you will see it never touches or crosses that boundary line. And if you don't believe me, I can do it on this side too. So we're getting very, very close to that boundary line. But as I keep scrolling and zooming in, it's never touching it or crossing it. Okay, so the boundary lines just kind of help us see where the ends are pointing towards. But our graph for a vertical asymptote is never going to cross or touch that line. The reason for this is, well, one of our asymptotes here is at, let's see, this is -2. This one's at -3. So every single point on this line would have an x value of -3, as you can see as I scroll through the points, right? All of the x's are -3. You're just going up or down, so the y is changing. So the equation of that vertical line is x equals -3. Hopefully this is bringing back some memories from Algebra 1. Now, let's say I took x equals -3 and I plugged it in to the function, what would happen? And this is where I'm going to go back over to the notes. Okay, so I kind of did this a little bit backwards, but we know the vertical asymptote, or at least one of them right now, is at x equals -3. I want to figure out why that is. So if I take x equals -3 and I plug it into the function here, it would look like this. What do you notice is happening here? I want to highlight this piece specifically. Okay, so if I plug in -3, you're going to get -3 plus 3 in the denominator, which, I mean, I'll clean all this other stuff up here, but -3 plus 3 gives us 0, and 0 times anything is 0. So 0 times -7 is going to be 0. So you're going to get -2 divided by 0 if you plug in x equals -3 to the function. Okay, it is impossible to divide something by 0. Think if I take like the pen I have in my hand right now and I tried to divide it into 0 parts. That's impossible. You can't do it because there's at least one part. So anytime you divide by 0 in math, we would say that is undefined. Okay, and that is what gives us vertical asymptotes. And that is exactly why the graph is never touching this line where our x values are -3, is because you can't have -3 as a value in this function, so it creates this boundary line that we cannot touch. And that's what a vertical asymptote is. Okay, so what is a vertical asymptote? So first thing, it creates a boundary at an undefined value. Or it creates a vertical boundary. At an undefined value. So I'm going to get this written down first. But then I want to add on that undefined values occur when the denominator equals 0. You can never, ever, 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 ever divide by 0. Okay, so make a star by that in your notes, write it down, whatever you got to do. So one of them is going to be at x equals -3, but there's another value that is going to possibly make the denominator equal to 0, and that other value would be at x equals 4. Because if you plug in 4 here, you're going to have 4 minus 4, which is 0. 0 times this will give you a denominator of 0, which makes sense if you look back at our original graph. There were 2 vertical asymptotes, and as you can see, one of those vertical lines has that x value being 4 every single point. So that's why the equation is x equals 4. Okay, that's how you find a vertical asymptote. What I'd like you to do really quickly is look at example number 2, and I want you to tell me where the vertical asymptote will be. Make your best guess, and I will come back with the answer very shortly. Try it on your own first, though. Okay, this one was a little bit trickier because you can't just visualize it as easy because it was a fraction. So I set 2x plus 5 equal to 0 to solve for what would make the denominator 0, because that can't happen. And that would happen if x was -5/2 or -2.5, which we can confirm by looking at the graph of this. So here are my 2 branches. There's a clear boundary line between them at, well, the x value here on every single point is -2.5. so we can confirm that. Now that we've talked about vertical asymptotes, there's one other kind of asymptote, which is called a horizontal asymptote. A horizontal asymptote is also a boundary line. The difference is this is not an undefined value. So you actually can cross horizontal asymptotes, but the horizontal asymptotes will strictly help to tell you the end behavior of the function. Tells end behavior. Okay, so with that said, you can cross them. It's a little bit different, but the ends will still tend towards the horizontal asymptote, just like the ends approached the vertical asymptote. I want to demonstrate that by pulling back up this graph we were looking at before. I drew in the horizontal asymptote, okay, which is a horizontal line in green, but you will notice that this graph does cross it. Now it tells us the end behavior still, because if you look at the ends of this, they're approaching that green line. So it tells us the end behavior. It's not necessarily an undefined value that you can't cross. It just kind of gives us a boundary to make a sketch. And this particular function has a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. So horizontal lines always have a y equals equation because you're not moving up or down at all. So the y value is remaining the same, but the x value is changing as you move left to right. Okay, review from Algebra 1. Talk to me if you want to talk more about that. Otherwise, how do we actually find the horizontal asymptote value? In order to figure this out, we're going to sketch a couple graphs here. We have two cases, and I'm going to look at case number 1 first. I've plugged all 3 of these equations into Desmos and graphed their horizontal asymptote. So we have 1 over x cubed, 1 over x squared, to make that a boundary line, and then we have this complicated one. But you will notice in all 3 of these, their horizontal asymptote is the same. It's the x-axis, or the equation of the line, is y equals 0, just like the one we were looking at before. So in this particular case, what do all these equations have in common? Case number 1 is what I informally like to call bottom heavy, which means that the degree on the bottom of the fraction is bigger than the degree of the top. Okay, so, x squared has a higher degree than 1. X to the third has a higher degree of 1. X squared here has a higher degree than just x. Okay, and anytime the degree is going to be bigger on the bottom, the horizontal asymptote will always be at y equals 0, aka the x-axis. And I promise we're going to talk about, or more about, why that happens in class. But for now, just make sure you have these rules written down. If you want a little hint, this question will help us get at why that happens, but we'll get there later. Okay, case 2. Okay, compared to case 1, the degree on the numerator and the denominator is the same in all of these different rational functions. Okay, so they're all x, and then this is x. It could be x squared on top and x squared on bottom, but we'll say the degree on top and on bottom is the same. So if it's linear on top, it's got to be linear on bottom. That would be case 2. Let's look at these 3 graphs to figure out what the horizontal asymptotes are. So this first one has a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1, and you can see that the end behavior tends towards that line. Whereas this one is at y equals 2. The ends tend towards that line. And last but not least, this last one, the horizontal asymptote is actually at 1/5. So the ends are hugging or approaching that line as well. Connecting this to the equation, that actually comes from the ratio of the leading coefficients of the numerator and denominator. So I've already typed that in here. Make sure you go ahead and write that in your notes, and I will highlight what I mean. So if you take the lead terms here, the lead terms are x and x, which are both 1x. The ratio of 1x over 1x is 1. Okay, the ratio here is 2x over x, so the ratio is 2 over 1. The lead terms are x and 5x, so the ratio is then 1 over 5. And that is where those horizontal asymptotes come from. Okay, so I filled in these notes already, but make sure you write them on your own page. I'm going to talk about why that is when we get to class, But for now, please just know how to find it. Have a good night.